Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the D Generation Y podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alex.
No, mate, you are the host, Mike.
Um, so we've got another episode lined up for you guys this week. Like we promised, we're going to try to do it weekly, recording on Tuesday nights and then posting them on Wednesday. So if you're seeing this, it might be Wednesday, and you know what that means. So for today's episode, we're going to do a couple of rounds of Guess the Wrestler. We're going to hit essentially an extension of our Could You Imagine
Okay.
last week's episode. And then we're also going to start this new thing where we're going to start just doing some reviews of the week prior, both some stuff we noticed in WWE, some AEW stuff, and then if we happen to catch things from like New Japan, Impact, or Ring of Honor, maybe we'll touch on those from time to time. So, kicking it off, we're going to play Guess That Poorly Described Wrestler. And Mike, you are guessing first. So, hint number one, this individual was a Royal Rumble winner.
Oh, great. Shawn Michaels.
It is not Shawn Michaels.
Right, male or female?
It is a female.
Oh, okay. Actually, I don't remember who you did last week.
Last week I did Teddy Long.
Yeah, you're right. I got that one. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hint number two, they are a former champion.
Asuka.
It is not Asuka.
Okay. Are they also currently a champion?
They are not currently a champion.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. This woman likes bad boys.
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley.
What were the other hints?
My last two hints were does not like the holidays because of crashing Christmas at the Mysterios and the Valentine's Day stuff last month. And then the other one is currently part of a faction.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Look at that.
Get ready.
Back to back weeks in a row. I'm trying to make my hints a little bit more sensible. I'm guessing we're rolling along here. All right. So nice and quickly moving into our essentially extension of the Could You Imagine, and it's interesting because the Could You Imagine that I had thought of for last week's episode ended up evolving into some additional things that you wanted to see that you liked for a version of the Bullet Club coming to WWE. And what's interesting about it is I had already had this idea for Could You Imagine in the back of my head, and it's a WWE version of the Bullet Club facing off against the Bloodline in some kind of feud that ultimately culminates in a War Games match. So my initial thought for it was going to be, Cody, AJ, Gallows, Anderson, and then maybe Finn being that, Bullet Club thing. But I think this is where it comes to the part two of last week, where we were talking about how Jay White could potentially be that fifth member. So I want to get your thoughts first, because your thought last week was let them do the Bullet Club stuff for a little while, and then at SummerSlam, Jay White turn on Cody potentially this year. So I'm going to kick it straight to you and be like,
I was gonna say, do you want me to go off on my like tangent of how I want the?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Remember when we were initially talking about this? Because that's why mine is a little bit longer. Because remember, I was like, it would extend the bloodline to being like the Samoan bloodline. Remember?
Yeah.
Some like crazy years long thing, or if they even could. But I guess at this point, the point would have passed because they're basically dissolving now, anyways. So obviously, it's a could you imagine, but
yeah.
I just want to see like some crazy, like huge faction on faction kind of thing.
Well, so no, I guess because obviously because you and I have had this conversation, I know what you're saying, but like, why don't you go into it a little bit more?
Yes.
What
So,
you mean?
well, that's what I was saying. Do you want me to pass it back to you quickly?
No, 100%, 100%. Like this, in some ways, like even though I had this could you imagine in the back of my head and in my notes, you in a way kickstarted it last week by going into your thoughts of what
Right,
Bullet
right,
Club
right.
WWE
Well,
scene.
that's why they're kind of two separate thoughts, but that are very like one's way out there and one's probably more or would be more probable. So the one continuing off of what I was saying last week on the Could You Imagine with Jay White coming in and then them forming the Bullet Club, then that would be a really because then you have like the two kind of evenly matched factions going against each other in war games as opposed to just having like I mean there's still good war game matches obviously because it's war games but like having people just bond to like form together out of necessity isn't always as fun as if you have both, evenly aligned, equally tag team kind of essentially.
Yeah,
Whatever. That makes
the,
sense.
no, it does. That's the one thing I'll say about Survivor Series war games. As much as I enjoyed the match and even the build up a
Right,
little
that's what
bit,
I'm saying. They're both it's a war games match, so it's gonna be good.
right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm essentially agreeing with your point. Like, I liked the men's war games match this past year. The only thing that like kind of detracted from it a little bit, to your point, is obviously you had the Bloodline, who was like this actual faction, but then you had the Brawling Brutes, and then you threw in Drew McIntyre and you threw in Kevin Owens just because they previously had issues with Roman Reigns. So it was like
Well, Drew
forced.
McIntyre made a little bit more sense because he has that history with Sheamus, and I feel like it was almost like even though it wasn't always necessarily on camera, I don't
Sure.
know. In my mind, they always just
No, that's
why
definitely
it is.
that's definitely fair. My point, I think, is more so
But yeah,
just
Kevin
the fact
Owens.
that
Yeah,
like the Brawling Brutes were a faction, and then
right,
even though there is that like sort of distant relationship with Drew McIntyre, he wasn't and still really isn't officially a Brawling Brute. So it was like in
right.
some ways forced.
Yeah, but now
That
that he's been teaming up with like if all of this work was done last year where they had a lot of tag teams together, then it would have made sense or more sense, I should say. But
absolutely, yeah.
but yeah, no. So that's kind of what I was saying with that leading up to there, and then sometime after that, because the Bullet Club always ends with somebody betraying somebody. That could be the way for them to break apart after they've already broken apart the bloodline. But the one way out there would be is if something it would have had to because now to see the bloodline kind of go for another however many years would be exhausting. So it would have had to already start. That's why I'm saying this one's less probable. Um, but it would have been cool to see them open up like in response to the Bullet Club forming, which you already have Gallows, Anderson, um, AJ Styles and Mia Yim as their kind of version of the Bullet Club currently WWE's version. So then, like I said, if you potentially have Jay White come back and Cody Rhodes, and then now the numbers game is in the Bullet Club's hands. So that's when Roman, as the head of the table, decides to not make it specifically bloodline, and it's open to Samoan bloodline. So they need to solve a problem for Mia Yim, which I said could be Nia Jax since they already had brought her back, and then they could bring in Samoa Joe or just really, really. But I guess Samoa Joe's not part of their Samoan family, right?
Right, he's not. But what I will
Or
say,
that other Rikishi, the other son of Rikishi, right? Wasn't there another son of Rikishi? Or
I
who
don't
was
know.
that we were looking up? We thought he was, but he's not, right?
Right, I know who you're talking about. I
The
don't think
nephew, the
he's
nephew.
not Kishi's son, but he is one of their
I think
cousins.
he's yeah. So they
Um,
could bring like him and like someone else to even out the odds. But that would be like I feel like a at least a couple year build up type thing.
yeah, and so what I will say too is because you made the point of like wanting to bring in Samoa Joe, but he's not really part of their direct bloodline. What you could essentially do, and I don't know if I don't know a lot, obviously, about Samoan history and Samoan culture. So I don't know if like doing something like this fake on TV would be considered disrespectful. So if it is, maybe it wouldn't work. But my
Right.
thought is like The Rock is considered a cousin of like Roman and stuff because of the like blood bond that his grandfather and Roman's family had together. Like I'm
Mhm.
assuming that's some kind of ceremony or whatever. So like maybe to like write it into the story, they could say like, oh, Samoa Joe did this blood bond ceremony with Roman or Jay or somebody to like make him part of the blood bond type of thing. And even if
Yeah.
not Samoa Joe, just
Yeah.
like any Samoan who isn't
Right. Right.
directly, fam like
But
True.
yeah, that's what I was thinking because I just wanted to see some type of form of like master, like crazy size factions going against it, almost like similar to I guess a feel for the invasion, but not quite invasion.
That's fair. That's like
'Cause that was fun to see, especially when like the massive brawls were in. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit nostalgic about it, but
have them start
I
fighting.
kid you not. What? In the supermarket? Yeah, right.
have, have Roman and Cody in the supermarket with some eggs and milk.
Mm, good time. But
No,
yeah, so that's those are my two little could you imagines. Yeah, obviously one's less probable, but it would be really cool to see two major factions or large size factions going.
wait. So wait, what's the second one? Because the one is the just the super large
The first
faction.
one would have just been like a continuation of what I was saying last week, where Jay White kind of comes in, forms
Oh,
like a slight addition to the Bullet Club,
got it.
brings down Bloodline sometime after another War Games because we'd want to see it, and then that's like the official like because I feel like War Games was the solidification of kind of the bloodline as it was with Sammy. Like that's when they all finally was like a whatever. So now then it kind of ends at another War Games, but now because they lost and then they run away with their tail between whatever, and and then sometime shortly after the main event, shortly after that, that's when Jay White turns on Cody for the title or whatever.
Right. Like maybe I mean the next pay per view after that is like the Royal Rumble or something. But
Right, whatever it is.
that's actually a really good. That's actually a really good point that I didn't. So I actually have two thoughts now, but that's a really good point. Uh, that's a really good point that I didn't think of in terms of the like initial solidification of the bloodline was
Yeah,
at
right. Because I mean, that's when he finally considered Sammy like
right exactly like that's when like Jay like accepted him in and like stopped kind of hating on him and stuff. So like it's interesting. Like I didn't even like when I was coming with this, I didn't even think of that. So yeah, like War Games was like the final
oh, I
solidification.
thought that's the whole reason why we said that.
No,
Like, obviously, it made sense because you'd have, the two factions, but
no, because so because we had been
or at least that's where my mind went.
no yeah so because this is actually an older idea. So because we had been not recording for a while, this idea came to play before Survivor Series actually happened. So Sami Zayn hadn't like been
Oh, but it was announced, and we had known that. I mean, or we had our suspicion that they were going to win.
no, but what I'm saying is because we're what I'm saying now is War Games ended up being the solidification of the bloodline being fully unified by Jay accepting Sammy as like an honorary member and
Right,
like a true member. When I came up with this idea, that had not happened yet. So like
right.
I
When we
wasn't
brought it back up, is what
no,
I'm saying.
even then I wasn't thinking that. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
I'm saying when we brought it back up, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, but yeah, but I didn't. That's what I'm saying. Like I never like up until you just said it now, like I was never viewing War Games as like the actual solidification of the bloodline is complete. But now that you say that, I like the idea of this. Could you imagine even more, whether it's the Bullet Club or not, with
Right.
final dismantling of the bloodline being at Survivor Series War Games this year, and like it
I
being one
feel
of
like they're the way they're going to do it is Roman losing a title.
it probably is. I mean, it more than likely is, but like I don't know. I think the final like nail in the coffin of like there is no more teaming of members in the bloodline is going to somehow be at Survivor Series now, I guess.
It'll be weird to see what they do with Jimmy and Jay if they do like I don't know. I feel like they keep teasing us with the Jay kind of solo run, and I
Well,
guess they had the previous one, right? It was Jay, right? That had a little solo run.
yeah, he was like one of the first feuds that Roman had,
Roman, yeah.
which is kind of there's been one or two people online that have said this, and I almost like the idea of like it shouldn't be Sammy that dethrones Roman. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
it would
be
be
Cody that dethrones Roman. It should be Jay because this whole title run and the whole bloodline story started with the feud between Jay and Roman. So it would be kind of cool if that's where it ended.
talk about full circle.
like that, and that's the thought. And like
Yeah, yeah.
as much as I really do want to see Cody finally get that world championship or major world championship, the one that like his dad never got, his brother never got. I also wouldn't be upset if Jay is the one that dethrones Roman somehow, and then maybe Cody becomes champion by I don't know, cashing in Money in the Bank or just challenging him later or whatever.
Or if Jay just interferes in the match and he is still the reason Roman's dethroned.
That's fair. That's fair. He doesn't necessarily need to win the title to dethrone him. He could.
Maybe that's his master plan with Sammy to infiltrate from the.
It's like I know you're joking, but it's funny. Like
It could be.
As I was catching up on Raw earlier tonight, that's actually exactly, and I guess we could talk more about this later in the weekly review, but like that was kind of what I was thinking when I saw Jay teasing going with Sammy, but then super kicking him and being like, "You actually thought I was coming to you." I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna like write this in that like Jay is just like messing with the bloodline and like getting inside their head more. Like I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen over the next 20 something days leading up to and actually during WrestleMania. I can't.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I have this as one of my notes for like the week review. I'm like the bloodline has been going on for.
Well, did you finish off your could you imagine part? Finish that and we'll go to the next topic.
Well, I mean, that really was the end of the could you imagine
Okay.
That's how we kind of went to the tangent. But like, yeah, I like this could you imagine even more because I think if we can get the Bullet Club into WWE in some way, shape, or form, between Cody, AJ, Gallows, Anderson, and maybe Jay White, them being the ones that put the final nail in the coffin of any remnants of the bloodline, even if Roman has already been, quote unquote, dethroned. Like, still have like the Usos and Solo Sikoa, like versus whoever, like versus maybe like AJ, Gallows, and Anderson.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just a 3-on-3 instead of. Oh wait, it was 5-on-5 last time too.
It was 5-on-5, and like maybe it doesn't. Maybe it like maybe I take away the War Games aspect of it, but like having like Bullet Club versus Bloodline, even if it is just like a 6-man street fight, like tornado style type of thing.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But all right, chill out. Featuring my dogs.
But yeah, we got. I definitely got off on some tangents there, but I think we came full circle. So that is the end of the could you imagine. So whenever you are ready, round 2 of Guess the Wrestler. I'm guessing now.
Hear that?
No. What is he snorting at you?
No, he just burped
Oh.
in my face. All right. Anyways. All right. So this superstar has really only been in WWE, as far as like major promotions.
Okay. Austin Theory.
Nope.
Okay. Male or female?
Male.
Male. Okay.
All right. So the superstar has somehow gotten a free bodyguard.
Free bodyguard. The Miz?
Nope.
Oh. Former world champion?
No. But it's funny that you say the Miz because that leads me to my next hint. This person has an issue saying the Miz.
Saying the Miz?
Yep, like when speaking to him, like referring to him as the Miz.
I have 2 people in mind. All right, so quick. It's like I guess when you say not a former world champion, what do you define as world championship?
Like one of the major promotions, I would like TNA or I guess WWE.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, do you count NXT as a world championship or
no? Oh, I guess should we count that?
I personally do. You don't need to. I just need to know so I know if I'm going to guess a certain person or a different person.
Well, in this, I wasn't counting NXT.
Okay, so you weren't counting NXT. So I'm going to guess Johnny Gargano.
Yes.
That's why
you're gonna guess.
If you didn't say John, which I guess it wouldn't make sense because he is the bodyguard, but if
you're gonna say Dexter Lumis?
I was going to say Dexter Lumis if you were saying NXT did count as a world championship.
And then my next, well, he didn't get a bodyguard.
That's why I'm saying it. Like now in hindsight, saying because he is the bodyguard, but like anyways, what were the other hints that you would have given?
I want to say doesn't have good luck with best friends, so I figured you were going to get it by these two. And
Okay,
then their significant other is also a superstar.
okay, yeah, I might have.
By that point, you should have, if you didn't already. You did.
Johnny
These are
Wrestling.
kind of easy ones,
Yeah, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
but
Um,
it helped that you didn't watch NXT because that's why.
so I did even though I didn't watch NXT yet, I did. I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw the clip of Shawn Michaels announcing that Gargano is going to be facing what's his
He's
name?
also disappointing. Oh well, why don't we just get into our review of the week?
We're moving on to the weekly review segment of the show.
That was rather disappointing.
What the talk show thing or whatever.
Well, yeah, I thought Sean was gonna go against Waller. I don't know.
As much as I wanted to see that, I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. I think
I was just afraid that it was gonna be terrible.
I was if it had happened, I was terrified it was going to be
Yeah.
terrible.
That's why I was like, oh, I don't, but I wanted it to happen.
Because like
Especially
obviously,
with all that buildup and what, like Gargano. I mean, he has somewhat of a history. They had showed that one flashback of Grayson like attacking him, but like,
I think it's more so they're playing it off as since the feud build up the feud has been Shawn Michaels versus Grayson Waller. I think Gargano is kind of considered one of like Triple H's and Shawn Michaels like boys, like understudy type people. So it's like, oh, since I, Shawn Michaels, can't do this anymore, I'm gonna get one of my guys to do it that can.
yeah. I feel like that would have worked maybe when it was Seth on Raw, and he was kind of right after he turned on Shield, but I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't click for me.
Fair. No, I mean fair. Yeah, it's like a distant connection, especially because NXT was Triple H's project, and Shawn is just like not that he's just there now, but like
Right.
he's a more recent development. I feel like of being involved between COVID and like all the other things that happened. But yeah, I was definitely intrigued when I saw that on TikTok of like, oh,
Yeah.
Small versus Johnny Gargano. I wonder how that's gonna work because and I think I've said this to you before. Grayson Waller just looks so weird to me. Between like the boxing type shorts that are like big
Yeah,
and
it's
heavy,
an
and him
interesting
being just
guy.
like lanky, I'm just like you don't look normal. I don't.
And then like he has this whole like rugby feel, but he's not like wearing rugby shorts or anything. Or I guess I don't know what it's like in New Zealand, right? He's from New Zealand. Maybe it's different there, but when we saw like people in college in the rugby team, they weren't wearing boxing shorts
They were tighter usually. It's
or
almost
or just shorter. And I thought they were like running shorts.
oh maybe I don't know.
Like yeah.
Either way,
Well, maybe we're both wrong, and he's right in the first place. But yeah, because I noticed he was drinking. He drinks from his shoe, and I feel like that's a big rugby thing.
that's disgusting. Either way,
It is disgusting. I wouldn't do it. I don't care.
but
Um, but yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Just something about I can't connect with Grayson Waller. Like I can't like him as a character. I can't. I dislike him as a character, but I can't tell you why. I don't enjoy watching any of his segments or his matches. I can't get
there was a
invested.
point where I got a kick out of him, but after the whole, I don't know. I was excited to see him go against Sean, but now I'm just kind of back off. Like that was the only thing bringing me to Grayson was that the fact he was going to go up against Sean, and now he's not. So it's like okay, whatever.
Yeah, I just can't connect with him. And actually, one thing because it's involved in this. I forgot to write this down in my notes and bring it up before. But one thing that's been bothering me is Gargano's finally on the main roster.
I
And
know they brought him back,
what?
and they brought him back to NXT.
Not even that, because this thought was from before I saw that clip of NXT
Mm.
tonight. It's more so he's finally on the main roster. He was one of the top guys in NXT. Like he helped, like the brand was his, and now he's just losing all the time
Yeah.
on Raw.
I feel like they were hoping that maybe there was going to be a bigger reaction with his feud against the Miz, maybe, and
Maybe.
see where that was going to go. And because that kind of was a flop.
Yeah, I guess I don't know because like I mean, like, granted he won this week, but it was like a cheap win where who did he even face? Like whoever he faced got like distracted and stuff. Oh, he faced Finn Balor. So like, yeah, that's a big win, but like
Oh yeah.
Edge interfered and like distracted Finn. So it was like, I get it. Like if you're not gonna, you don't want to
I
like maybe.
wonder if next Monday. No, next Monday's gonna be. Well, no, they're just calling them out. Never mind. I was
Oh, I
gonna
thought
say.
they were having a match.
I thought they were just. Well, he said meet him in the ring, so maybe yeah, maybe they're actually having a match.
It would make sense if they're just gonna call out and do like another setup for WrestleMania. But yeah, I don't know the way I interpreted. I don't know why I pronounced it that. The way I interpreted that was that they were gonna have their like blow off match on Raw next week, which I wouldn't be upset about having a blow off match on Raw.
Right.
If it's just gonna be a regular singles match, like
Maybe just in my mind, I automatically just, for some reason, am thinking that it's Edge versus Finn at Mania.
right, but they wait, did they do that last year? They did
Okay.
that last year.
Did they do last year? Was that last year?
Who was Edge's
Was
opponent?
it Mania?
It was definitely yeah. Who did Edge? No, Edge
Maybe it
faced
was.
AJ. It was no. It was AJ. It was AJ.
Was he?
Because yeah, it just came back to me because they
Was
were
he still a part of Judgment Day at that point?
he
No.
hadn't started it yet. It was the beginnings of it. It was like him and AJ were both faces.
Oh right, and Finn Balor. I mean, Damian Priest came out after the match. I remember after the match ended. I remember that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because like going into their feud, they were both faces. So naturally, one of them had to turn.
Mm.
So Edge turned, became like the bad guy again, and then that's how the Judgment Day started. Um, but yeah, but anyways, I digress. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't enjoy what they're doing with Johnny on Monday Night Raw, and I get what you're saying. Like maybe it has to
I
do.
did think it was funny when Rhea Ripley kind of scared Dexter Loomis. Did you see that? Did you notice that?
No, I missed
So
that.
he was standing there just looking, doing his, brooding, whatever. And then Rhea Ripley did her like whatever climb on the stairs and went like that to him, and he kind of was like and like walked away and like he never like breaks. I don't know. I thought it was funny. It made me
That's,
laugh.
and of course, I deleted the episode too, so I can't even go back.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have to try and like
Well,
find it somewhere else.
I'm sure. I mean, if anybody else caught it,
Yeah,
that's
or
me.
if not, I'll try to have to remember. If I can remember 4 weeks from now when it's uploaded on Peacock, I'll go back and watch.
What? 4 weeks from now? So no, you're not gonna remember. I just
I'm
thought.
by the end of this
But
episode.
and that's before we move on from NXT, talking about disappointments on NXT, Roxanne in general. I felt like that was just a flop of an ending of a match.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I told you I didn't get to see the whole thing, but yeah, even
Okay.
just the ending, I was just like,
It
it.
was just a cheap pin. Did you see the pin?
It was yeah, I saw the pin. It was a cheap pin, and I saw the highlights, and it was like, um, what was the woman's name she was facing? I can't think
Is
of
it
her.
Mako Saka?
Yeah,
Mako
Meiko.
Sakamura?
Like from the highlights, it looked like she was just wiping the floor with her
Yeah.
entire match, and I was just
And
like,
then she got that cheap pin where like I was just like, oh, come
that
on.
would
Like
never work. Like
it was
make
just yeah.
kick the entire time.
That's why I was not looking forward to the match because I was like, oh, they're just gonna make Roxanne look good. And then they just made it look terrible and get a cheap win. Like if Tiffany Stratton doesn't win, I don't know if Mandy Rose 2.0 doesn't win, like
She's like the newer one that does that. Like she does like the a cutter like off the top rope, kind of right.
I think yeah.
She's like blonde and she like you know what I mean by a cutter, right? Like an
Yeah.
arcade. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
She like kind of like takes off the top rope and then like does it type of thing.
I
That's the
think so.
right. Yeah, I like her. I like that move actually. It's pretty.
I noticed it today when she was because she announced Roadblock. I was like Road Rage no.
That's what I get.
Oh don't know. They showed like a couple clips of her in ring, and I was like, huh, it's kind of like a knockoff Mandy Rose.
That's fair. That's fair.
And it sounds like they're getting her ready. I mean, she's fairly jacked. Mandy Rose is jacked, and but not in a gross way. Like
I don't think either of them are jacked.
they're muscular. I mean, jacked in the sense of like they're muscular.
Really? You think Mandy Rose was? I think she was
Yeah,
just.
yeah, muscles.
I think she's just toned.
but I think she was obviously toned, but I think she was a little bit more because she had her whole that was her whole like spiel, her whole spiel when she went into main roster. Remember, she was doing like the her and Dana Brooks were being like the pretty bodybuilders, or whatever, the blonde, whatever.
No, I remember
Remember?
Dana
They had
Brooks.
like a whole yeah, they were like a tag team and everything at one point.
Interesting. Yeah, no,
She
I don't.
had something to do with basically like showing that she was pretty strong, and I remember the commentators always like saying something about it too.
I mean, I more remembered of like her being like the fitness type model, not necessarily like bodybuilder strong. But either way, it doesn't. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I do like I do like the newer girl, Mandy 2.0.
She's actually not. She's been there for a while.
I guess I've only noticed her more recently. Like they're only
She's,
like
I would say like but she stopped for a while. I mean, she came back at like New Year's, whatever, and she had that really nasally voice, and then she dropped it. Thankfully, it's still nasally, but not as nasally as it was. That I was like, what the fuck is she doing to her voice? Because I remembered her from before.
God. Okay, yeah. I guess maybe they just like since they're spotlighting her more, I've noticed her more now.
She had like this weird feud with the girl that comes out in pajamas. Wendy Chu, is that her name?
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about her. Wendy Chu. She's like injured right now or whatever. Or like
Yeah, her and Nikita Lyons, which Nikita Lyons, I feel like was probably supposed to be primed for NXT Women's Champ, but that's a whole nother. I guess she's injury prone.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah,
We went off on a whole tangent now.
that whole women's division is just is interesting,
Yeah,
and not necessarily in a bad way. It's just it's hard to tell what's up and down in
yeah, yeah.
them.
It's hard to see what they're doing.
Yeah, uh,
Mandy throwing everything off.
but no, but really, like,
Yeah.
who knows what? Like, yeah, I really don't know
I
what.
think she was gonna lose it soon, but I think like I said, I think it's because I thought Toxic Attraction was gonna go up against Damage Control, and that brings us to Raw. No.
I mean, it's a good segue, but no, yeah, I don't know. I don't have the energy to get into that today. Uh, um, yeah, I
To
don't know.
Raw?
No, to
Uh,
what could have been like the toxic attraction not having to break up and like all this other stuff. Um, yeah, but I mean, speaking of Raw, uh, the first thing that I want to call out about Raw, which I know I was mentioning to you, I died laughing when Cena was calling Austin Theory like saying Austin Theory was in his ruthless aggression like phase or whatever. Like I don't know why, but I literally was sitting on my couch tonight watching that, and I was just I cracked up. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. The
yeah, I
entire
started
crowd,
laughing when after he said he was gonna get like he almost got fired. That's when I started laughing.
yeah, that was great too. It was like, dude, that's not a good thing. Like it was an opportunity, but I almost got fired. I was like, oh, you're saying he's gonna get fired. I
At
also
one point, though, on both sides, that they each were going off on some tangent. And I'm just like, and then they would stop, and the crowd would cheer, and I'm like, wait, that didn't make any sense.
I
I,
didn't
don't- I was just like, what? I don't know. It was weirdly scripted, if it was scripted. Or I don't know if they gave them freedom to
Cena,
wordplay a bit, but
Cena. I would imagine Cena gets kind of free
yeah.
reign. Austin Theory, I don't know about. But the one other thing that I did like from
It
that,
makes me more concerned that it's not coming from Theory's head. It's coming from somebody planned, unless he's just forgetting part of his role, his script.
I can see it either way. The one thing that I did like from that segment though too, outside of like laughing at the one liner from Cena, because I thought it was a fair point. Cena mentioned that like if he ends up getting booked to win at WrestleMania, Austin Theory's done.
Yeah,
Like that's just like and it might not be Cena's fault necessarily. It could just be like management losing faith. But it like that's the end of I think Austin Theory at that point.
yeah.
And if management believes in Austin Theory and they have him beat Cena, fans are going to hate Austin Theory. Which maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
But like it
But I
really
don't know if because that's how it kind of was. I think they're trying to recreate the love that everybody had for Cena, because that's kind of how it was at the time. Everybody hated Cena at first, and then you hated to love him.
I
Or love
guess.
to hate him? Love to hate him? What's the phrase?
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. But they hated well, they hated him when he was a face. They liked him when he was a heel. Like when he was the doctor of Thugonomics, he was a heel, but he was popular.
I'm saying when he first came out, like with the whole Kurt Angle thing, that was so stupid. Like I'm saying when he first came out, and then like when he started to obviously go into the Doctor Thugonomics stuff, and that's when he started getting like the crowd reaction. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're trying to get it to the point that they hate him so much, and then all of a sudden they're just gonna like I don't know. Sometimes people get to the point where they hate them so much that they think that they're so good in their character that the fans are hating them so much, but like in a good way. Does that make sense?
Well, that's what Roman's at right now.
Right, but I'm saying I think they're trying to recreate that hate, but I don't think it's gonna work
Well, I don't know. And maybe I'm just maybe
because
I'm
I
not.
really don't see why they would make Austin Theory lose. 'Cause I don't think management's lost faith in him, but
No, yeah, and I'm not saying he necessarily will lose. I don't know. I guess I don't know if I'm just like overtired or I'm missing the correlation. But like to me, it was Cena just wasn't. See, people hated Cena in the ruthless aggression character because that character just sucked. I don't care who you put in that character; it was going to be bad. Um, but then they started to like him just because he started like doing these rap. Oh, I guess never
and
mind.
then they hated him again.
I put the correlation together because he was doing these raps dissing the crowd, so they hated him because they were being dissed by Cena, but they still enjoyed it.
So the good hate.
There you go. Yeah. The wheels are turned. I put some grease in there. We're good to go. I'm, I'm caught up to speed. This is what it's like being you. I get it. Okay.
I was like, am I going crazy?
Moving on. We're done with this part of the segment. We're done with Cena in theory. Um,
Oh shit.
I
Yeah. Anyways, Monday. What else happened?
so the one thing that I want and this kind of goes so this I guess this will be a Monday leading into the Friday before. But I think the one thing that I thought or that I saw that was really cool, and I know you said that you didn't catch it initially, so if you have a chance to go back and watch it, or I definitely saw a TikTok on it, so maybe you'll scroll through it too. Was that during Rick Boogs and Elias's segment backstage, at one point there's a camera cut and you actually see Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes talking, and they're like gesturing a little bit, like not full on argument, but they're getting pretty animated. And in my head, I'm like, I wonder if this was designed to be part of now the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens
I feel
story.
like they don't make mistakes like that though. Like I feel like it has to be a part of it.
Well, yeah, so
Especially when they're like that notable. Like
fair. That's very fair. But my own no, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Because my initial thought when I saw it was like, huh, it wasn't like the camera just like awkwardly cut away and like accidentally showed them. It was like the way the camera
over
cut,
there and then the camera moved.
right? Like the camera cut was definitely designed, but whether or not they were meant to be in the background is what I'm potentially questioning. Of like, was it just two coworkers talking about like a strategy or like planning something out, or was it not only a design cut of the camera that way, but also designed for them to be there to like lead into like, oh, like Kevin going to Sam and being like, oh, Cody convinced me I should help you,
Probably, yeah.
stuff like
That's
that.
probably what it is.
Right. That is the more likely answer. It was just like, a little thought provoking topic of like, I wonder if that was designed or
You
not.
think they would get an equalizer for somebody for solo? Like if it ends up being some type of Cody, KO, Sammy versus the Bloodline, like they would have to, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, but who do you get?
That's what that was gonna be my question.
No, I mean, yeah, like, and I don't know because there's nobody really with a similar style in WWE to begin with.
DiBiase comes back. Uh, good old times. No,
No.
not that.
Yeah, there's nobody in WWE with like a similar style, and definitely nobody that's been involved with the bloodline. So if they had to do that, I
Cody brings out an old friend. Boom, Jay White. No, did they were they together at the same time? Was they a part of the Bullet Club at the same time?
might have been. I don't know. I forget when Jay joined versus when Cody like broke it up, type of thing. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I guess that would be fair. You would have to bring in potentially someone new because anybody that's already on, or at least anybody that I'm thinking of that's already on the roster, I think wouldn't be organic and would feel very forced.
Yeah. Like that match with who was it? Was it Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and what the hell's his name with Emma now?
Oh yes, uh,
That was such a random
Madcap Moss.
tag. Yeah. Mad Cat, right? Was it them three? Mad Cat,
Yes,
Moss,
very
Sheamus.
very forced. Made
Like
no.
that was random. Oh
Um,
yeah, they were against Imperium, right?
yeah,
And I think the Brawling Brutes ended up coming out afterwards. So I was like, why didn't they just put one of them in with it? Like it didn't
have
make
one of them be there and then the other one just kind of like sitting at ringside.
yeah. Because
Uh,
they had Emma at ringside anyway. So I was just like, this makes no sense. Okay, whatever.
the one thing I was gonna say though, I think I just thought of this because I recently watched the DX episode of
Mm, that's
WWE
not
Legends. So if we get into that scenario of like maybe Jay White is the friend that Cody brings in to help like combat Solo, it be similar to the DX promo of like you look to your heart, you look to your friends, and then point to like the entranceway and be like Jay
yeah.
White's music kidding type of thing.
Yeah, that would be, but it would never happen. But it would be interesting.
No, obviously the promo would be if that were to
'Cause
happen.
do you think it's still going to be? And we keep going on tangents, but do you think it's still going to be KO and Sammy taking down the Usos, or who do you think is going to take them down, or is anybody going to?
I mean, somebody has to eventually.
I mean, but no, at WrestleMania, because I think we thought initially it was going to be them losing one of their tag titles at Mania and Roman losing one of his titles at Mania, and then it'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, so I think to help both get us off of this tangent and to bring us full circle, I think that goes back to my point of I think that depends on that camera cut to Cody
Yeah.
and Kevin backstage.
Which
Like,
I think it had to be because I feel like they would have somebody would have yelled at the cameraman to move the angle or something because there's people that shouldn't be in the shot or something like.
no, which is fair, which is fair. Um, so but yeah, I think whether or not Kevin and Sammy are the ones to take down the Usos ultimately depends on that more than likely being a work and being meant to be part of like that camera angle. And then two, the outcome of what that conversation was.
Right.
Like, is whatever Cody had to say to Kevin enough to convince
Tell
him,
him, but yeah.
hey, stop, stop it. Like he was and should be one of your best friends, and like he's trying to apologize. Let him. Um, so well, time will tell what happens there.
We shall see. We have some time, right? Because we have. Well, it's less than a month now. Holy crap!
Yeah,
It's almost April again. Holy crap!
it's the 7th, so we got 20,
Less than a month now. Yeah.
got like 24 days left.
We got maybe like 3 more weeks of shows, right?
Yeah,
Three.
24 days, so 3 weeks, 3.5, because we'll have Friday this week and then 3 weeks.
Right. Right.
Which,
Oh, you were saying you were going into Friday.
oh yeah, but like that whole Cody Kevin cut just brings me into the whole how even with the bloodline story having been going on for what 2.5, 3 years now, it still keeps pulling me in and making me more and more interested in this product and in this story specifically because well, and I guess this is both a two-part for Monday and then last Friday, where I personally really enjoyed the promo segment between Cody and Roman on SmackDown. I
I
thought,
think it was the first time we really got to see Roman on the mic by himself, like actually show good mic skills.
right, like Paul left the ring, like Jay and
Because
Jimmy.
obviously he's talked by himself sometimes, but like this was like really by himself, and he really like he kept your attention the whole time. Like both of them did. Like it wasn't like you were just like, oh, what the hell? Like
It was
same with Austin and John Cena when I was like, what are you guys getting at? Like the just
like,
challenge party and make it like
I'm the first one to admit, as much of a wrestling fan as I am, there are some promos where I'm just like listening in the background, but like maybe scrolling through my phone. Like for the
Right.
Cody Roman segment, my phone was down. I was
Yeah.
eyes locked on the TV. I wanted to know what they were saying.
Yeah.
And to your point of Roman being kind of on the mic by himself fully for the first time in a little while, I really, really enjoyed and thought he did a great Dusty impersonation.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The whole you couldn't sell it if you wanted to. Like
Right.
I was like, oh my god, that was amazing.
That's good.
And I mean, I know there have been some people out there, maybe, if you're listening to this, maybe you're one of those people. I know it feels almost like they're beating the dead horse with Cody of like, oh, his father didn't get the championship, so he wants to get it. But like the way if him and Roman keep building it the way they started on Friday, because like I know Cody won the Royal Rumble over a month ago now, but I feel like Friday was really the first time they started building their feud
Yeah.
because Sami Zayn is in the past type of thing, or at least in Roman's eyes.
Right. Right.
If they keep building the feud the way they started it on Friday, I think this is going to end up being a very good feud, and it
Mhm.
is going to be an incredible match.
I
To
think. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be an incredible match. I mean, I see nothing less happening.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where it's going, but yeah, I think I was gonna make a point, and then I was like, yeah, that didn't really make sense. Um, yeah, I think though, if they keep building it the way they do, and if they keep giving these promos, whether they're in the ring together or not, I'm going to really enjoy this, and I think it's going to lead to. I'll even go on a limb and say it. I think it could end up being one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of probably the past couple of years, past like 5, 10 years. Like, yeah, I mean, the Shawn Undertaker WrestleMania matches are always going to be in my top five, um, especially the second one. Uh,
Mhm. Sean Flair one was good.
Shawn Flair one was good. I don't.
I don't know if that's just because
I
it.
would give that like in my top five. I would give that like an honorable mention. I don't know if it necessarily goes in my top five.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes in much, but it's definitely memorable for sure.
Yeah. And for this, I'm only gonna say like singles matches. Like once you get into like the crazy ladder matches with 6 people and ladders and stuff like that, that's not fair. That's you're getting a lot of high spots matches. If you're looking at one-on-one matches, if they do this right, they keep building it the way I think they're gonna build it.
It'll be good.
Cody and Roman could end up being in my personal top five of.
And it also kind of, even if Roman loses, I feel like it's a chance to like kind of not put him over, but at least showcase some type of wrestling. A bit. Not that he doesn't have, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like more of a technical ability, maybe. Like
I'm glad you said that because that was the point that I was thinking about making a couple seconds ago. I was like, never mind. Was like, and I don't know that I've ever heard somebody directly say like, "Oh, Roman can't wrestle. Roman's not technical." Um, because
But
like nobody's
it's
ever
not
said
that he's not, but it's
his matches don't ever showcase it, is the thing.
right.
Like
Yeah,
it's always just like, especially over the past like 3 years now, it's always just brawling. I'm gonna hit you with a spear, a Superman punch, a guillotine. You're gonna hit me with some high impact moves, and then the match is gonna be over. And like maybe that goes on for 20 minutes sometimes, but like I, I think I think Cody is gonna both in the planning of this match and like the way they're gonna do their in ring psychology. Cody's character is gonna force Roman to slow down and
right,
go at a slower pace than he wants to.
right. So that's what I was saying. Like I guess more to showcase his technical ability, if
Exactly.
done correctly.
Yeah.
You know, but so that was Monday, and kind of Friday. Yeah.
That's Friday.
Uh, how do you feel about Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins?
So I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it because I think their match, I don't want to say it will have cheap shots,
Yeah.
but I think it might have cheap shots because and
Yeah, I,
and I don't know, like in it's interesting because in today's world of social media, when wrestlers start going on social media and talking about their feuds, in some ways, specifically with this one, it's hard to tell whether or not it's a work or a shoot and like meant to
right.
be part of the storyline because Seth
Or
tweeted
if
something,
it just happened to be
or if
like
it's
a
just like
coincidence that
stars.
now they're they're capitalizing on. Yeah, that's what I thought about this too at first.
Because there was, and I think one of us sent this video together, like the whole interview of Seth basically saying like he was referring to both CM Punk and Logan Paul, but he was like, I think you're both like cancerous to this business. I don't want you here. You don't belong
Right,
here. All this stuff.
right, right.
So like I was wondering. I was like, I
I
truly
don't disagree.
right. Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but like I wonder, like I believe that he truly feels that about CM Punk. I
Right.
wonder if he only included Logan Paul in that statement more so to help build this feud, knowing it was going to happen, or if that's truly how he felt,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Oh, let's capitalize on that, and we're gonna force him to be in the ring with someone that he despises,
Yeah.
and like kind of like teach him a lesson of like this is what the business really is."
I was thinking this, like I was in the same headspace, but I don't know. I just it's annoying. I understand that they do it for viewership, but like it gets stupid to me when you overdo it. Like it's so often. Like take a break on getting somebody that's famous and getting them in just high like level matches. Like his only two matches. Well, I guess he had the tag against Miz or whatever. Did he end up having a tag with? Yeah. Um, but like his only singles matches are major kind of level matches, and he immediately got a title shot like in his first single, which was that's a whole nother point. But now he's going against somebody who's also top tier, and I understand maybe they're trying to push him a little bit, but it's like
Well, yeah, you're not going to throw him in there with like a jobber.
right, but don't like give him extend the feud a little bit with Miz. That was a lot of opportunity to push him over and keep somebody like the Miz kind of relevant. But I feel like Miz is always now recently, anyways, the target for to put over anybody new. Like he loses against everybody that comes in new. I feel like, and
You know,
that's the perfect time to extend it and give him his whatever. But oh, he's this whatever YouTuber with millions of followers, and let's put him in whatever. Again, I get it; it's for eyeballs, but whatever.
well, that, but and what I will say is too, because I agree with you. I think they overuse, you know,
They did that with Ronda as well too. Like, but I mean, I guess hers is a slightly different story. Like, I remember bringing this up in one of the episodes where she specifically said she didn't want any special treatment, but then her first ever singles match is a title shot, and she wins. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, so I will agree. I think WWE does overuse celebrities for like these like high impact matches. The one area where I will give Logan Paul credit for is he didn't just sign up for one and do like the big payday. Like he has signed a multi-year contract where like he's going to be doing these multiple matches and like we could take it with a grain of salt because like it could just be the company line thing, but like Triple H has come out and said like he's putting in work and like
oh, I'm
he's
sure he is, but I'm just saying, like, he should have had some type of for somebody that in that level, in my mind, yes, that he had a slight feud with Roman, but like for that kind of high star, put him with somebody that's maybe like an intercontinental championship level and give him a longer like
like Gunther beat the crap out of him at WrestleMania.
but I meant like give him a longer feud that gives him more of a storyline to really showcase his like because he has clearly the acting or whatever kind of microphone, you know, skills already. So get him to showcase that, and in those promos that he's cutting and cutting, cutting during this extended feud, he can also work on the background scene of getting in ring ready, and not saying that he's not, but I
No,
don't
yeah,
know. That's in my mind the better way to do it, and really add some type of instead of just having him jumped around into these high level matches that just kind of it's almost like they're being forced for no reason just because he's a star, if that makes sense. Like it which makes it pointless to me.
the final point that I'll put there is I agree with you. I think it's forced, and I have a feeling because of his celebrity status and like probably some of his pull, it's
Oh, I'm sure it was on his end, yeah.
a contractual
That's what
obligation.
I'm saying.
I'm
It's
only working right. I'm only working with top end, like top tier talent. I'm only working with the people that I want to work with.
that's yeah, it's just I get it. Again, I get it. It's eyeballs, but
Yeah.
in my mind, what would make draw more of attention would to extend it out a bit. Give yourself some like breathing room in a feud, but whatever. Anyways,
Uh,
so we finish Friday?
Monday. We're bouncing around between
I
Friday
know.
and Monday, and you're getting your days confused.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Well, I guess is there anything else from Monday that you want to talk about?
nothing else for Monday, but one thing that because I was getting ready to say like, hey, let's jump to some AEW thoughts, but I
Okay.
realized I almost overlooked this. It got set up on this past Friday, and it's going to happen in a couple of days on Friday. The Fatal Five Way match: LA Knight,
Oh yeah.
Karrion Cross, Sheamus.
That could be a good match.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this. I really like. I'm torn because I was actually really hoping that at WrestleMania it was going to end up being a Fatal Four Way or like a Fatal
Oh,
Five.
right.
So this way, Gunther could lose the Intercontinental title, get ready for his world title run without having to actually be pinned, you know. But now it's going to be a singles match, so that's obviously not happening. But so I'm torn since it's going to end up being a singles and not a multi-person match at Mania. I'm torn between do I want to because I've already seen we've already seen Gunther and Sheamus, so I don't want Sheamus to win, but I'm torn. Do I want to see Drew McIntyre and Gunther have
LA.
a banger of a match, or do I want? We both really like LA Knight,
Yeah.
so do I want to see LA Knight go into WrestleMania, be able to get his WrestleMania LA Mania moment, and face Gunther?
Maybe it ends up being a triple threat somehow. I don't know.
It could be, but I think
Fine.
end up doing. I think if they end up going the triple threat route, it'll end up being Sheamus,
Mhm.
McIntyre, and Gunther. So I
Which would
think,
also be a good match.
oh, it 100% would. I'm not saying that. It's just, I definitely don't want to see, or not that I don't want to see.
Making up is Friday's match a ladder match? No.
It's just a fatal five
Yeah,
way.
that's 45. Okay.
Yeah, so it's.
I don't know why I had. Did you theorize or could you imagine wanting to do a ladder match for that? I don't know why I was thinking ladder match. Anyways.
I'm trying to think who that fifth person is because it's LA Knight, Sheamus,
Karen Cross.
Drew McIntyre, Karrion Cross. Is it Rey Mysterio?
I was just gonna say, is it Rey Mysterio? No, maybe.
I'm gonna Google it real quick because it's gonna annoy me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say it is, but
Here we go.
I don't know.
Here we go. WWE.com coming in clutch. If it loads. Kofi Kingston is the last one.
Oh, right, yes. Because yes, they came out a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is nothing against Cody. The three. So the only two people I do want to see win this match are going to be either Drew or LA Knight. Nothing against Karrion Cross, but he's kind of flopping to me. And I just, as much as I like watching Kofi work, I don't. I think him. I don't think him and Gunther could put on
I agree.
like.
It would be interesting to see what LA Knight could bring out or what Gunther could bring out in LA Knight to show because
Yeah.
we haven't really got to see much of LA Knight except for getting his ass handed to him with Bray Wyatt. But which I'm also disappointed that whole Funhouse thing hasn't gone into anything.
They're dragging. Yeah, I'm over that story. Like I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm disappointed it didn't turn into anything.
Yeah, at this point,
I thought they were gonna pull LA Knight into something, and then that would have been a good way to see him do stuff, and then pull Alexa Bliss in, and whatever the case was gonna be. But then they just dropped it. So it's smelling like Vince, but
yeah, I don't know what they're doing with like Uncle.
it's Bray versus who is it? Bray versus Bobby now, which is
Which like I think that'll be an okay match, unless
it's
it's
right.
this,
Like
unless it's this Snickers match that we know nothing.
it probably will be.
Which it probably will be. Like they're gonna have Bobby Lashley dress up as a Snickers bar or some stupid thing like that. Yeah, so I don't know, but I think that's the last thing I have for Friday Night SmackDown. Is I just wanted to call out that I'm interested to see that Fatal Five Way coming up, and I liked the way they set it up last week. But I guess moving on from there, we both had you mostly had one thought about AEW that you wanted to go over, and then I just wanted to jump into like results.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just I'm baffled by the fact that they let Powerhouse Hobbs win the ladder match. Like, I was just saying, like, I guess you can't really hide it from the people in the stands, but like at least get a better camera angle. Like, who do we blame for this? Like, are we blaming the camera angle to not be showing the referees all three of them?
Yeah, like get
Or like, that was something.
I feel like that's just I don't even want to say that's not even ladder match 101. That's common sense 101 of
It's
where a
like,
ladder is big enough.
I guess technically it's not allowed.
It's
'Cause,
not, but
like, no DQ, but why would the ref help is the whole point.
yeah, I mean it's obviously for like it's obviously for safety, but like from a storyline perspective, yeah, like common sense 101. You get a ladder that's big enough. It's always better. Bigger things are bigger in Texas. Like, come on. Like bigger is always the answer.
But yeah, I mean, go back when you set it up and you're like, "Oh, shit, now you have to go and get another one," but, like,
Stupid, but yeah.
don't have 3 referees hold.
Yeah, at that point, I think like in my mind, I think if like you're starting to climb the ladder, you realize that it's not tall enough and you're not tall enough to reach. You have to maybe like call an audible, extend the match by an extra 30 or 45 seconds,
Right.
have someone run into the ring last
You
minute.
hit him with that little ladder and go get the bigger ladder, and then
Exactly. Like you have to extend it for 35 seconds. Like take away time from someone else's match or someone's promo if you need to.
or, like, have a way to signal somebody run into the ring with a bigger ladder and set up next to him and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna," and then he climbs over and knocks him off or something, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That
Yeah,
but, that was just I was laughing the whole time. I was like, "This is." I knew he was gonna win because of the like, like I said, I watched it on Saturday after, um, but I was just like, ugh. Anyways, good times. Oh, did we wanna, talk about the outcomes of Revolution? Or
Yeah, I mean, we can quickly run through them. I don't
that's
think we can go
yeah.
too in depth. I thought it was just interesting 'cause since we gave our predictions last week, just seeing like how right or how wrong we were, and I think we were actually probably about half and half. I think some of the notable ones, um, where I think the most notable one to me is the trios tag team championship match, where we both started off thinking and saying we wanted House of Black to win, but then we kind of like, or at least the way I remember it, and I know you said you remember it a little bit differently. The way I remember it is then we changed our mind and said, no, actually, the Elite should win. So this way the feud can be extended, can be built more, and House of Black can win later at a later date. But then House of Black won. So it was like we were right, but then we decided to change our minds for one reason or another. And it's like, oh, well, we
Yeah,
had
I think the way I took it when we left left that conversation was that we think that they're gonna win at the end of the day or whatever, but it would be interesting to see if they lost so that they could extend the feud a bit and actually add some type of like backstory to why they're going against each other. But who knows? Maybe they still will.
Yeah, I mean that was actually going to be my you in my mind. I think I was basically going to say like that House of Black winning doesn't stop them from building the feud and like having some successful title defenses against the Elite. I think it's not how we pictured it necessarily.
Right, right.
Then the other notable one that I think where we ended up because it's where we both ended up being wrong. 'Cause for the most part, for all of our guesses, actually, now that I'm looking, one or both of us were correct in how we thought the booking was going to go. The two that we were wrong on was that Trios Championship match, and
Mm,
the other one that we were both
okay.
incorrect on was the women's title match, world title match. We both agreed that we thought Saraya was going to win. We thought she was. We both thought for different reasons she was going to win, but it
Right.
ended up being that Jamie Hayter retained her title. And
Yeah, I
it's
definitely thought Soraya was gonna win to just, like I said, put some like noteworthiness to the yeah, give it a little razzle dazzle.
Salt Bay. Um, yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting how we were nowhere close, and
Nowhere close.
well, I guess we had a 1 out of 3 chance, and we
Right.
both agreed. We both agreed that there was no chance Ruby Soho was winning. So I guess we really had a 50 shot.
Look
we
at
just,
you being all optimistic and shit.
we just yeah. Uh,
You good?
no, no, no,
Having a stroke.
yeah. I wish that would be less painful. Um, and then yeah, I guess the last one that I really want to. Well, actually, I don't know if you
Oh,
saw this because I haven't sent you any. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Adam Page and
Well, that one we kind of knew. Yeah, the Adam Page one we kind of knew. We both agreed like it made sense for Hangman to win the match and kind of be like, number one, he beats Moxley, goes over a little bit, and two, it's like not only did I beat you in your type of match.
right.
The one thing I would say is, and this can lead me to my next point, like for those of you listening, neither of us have had a chance to watch pay per view yet. We just know the results because social media makes it impossible to not. But I'm still very interested in watching that match. I can't wait to see it. The other thing, I don't know if you heard about. I forgot. I saw a video of it, and I forgot to send it to you. Um, oh, what are their names? Wow. So the Guns ended. So
Oh, the Guns and the Acclaim.
the Guns ended up winning their title or retaining their title, so they won the Fatal 4-Way match. But then after the match was over, oh, why am I drawing a blank? The team that you like,
Oh, FTR.
FTR. Thank you. FTR came back to AEW and actually
Oh,
attacked.
so that actually happened. Okay,
Yes, they came back and they attacked um, the Guns. So
kind of makes sense because the Guns were the ones who had the whole funeral for them or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
FTR.
So yeah, the RIP. So they're back in AEW at least for the time being. I don't think their contracts had ever expired, so it makes sense that they're back for now. So it'd be interesting to see if they pick up their feud with the Guns over the tag team titles.
Maybe that'll be their way of leaving AEW.
I was just thinking that. I think
Losers leave AEW match or something like that, or
I don't know necessarily about.
like their title defense, like they lose to the Guns when they challenge them for the titles, and then they're like, "Oh shit, well we're just gonna leave."
Yeah, well, that was my thought. I was like, I don't necessarily know that it'd be an AEW or a loser leaves AEW match, but I can definitely see it being like if FTR wins the titles, naturally they're going to stay in AEW.
Right, but if they lose, I
But
think
if they lose, that's probably the signal, like, all right, they're going somewhere else
I agree.
for a little while.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. And then the only other match that I think is obviously noteworthy. It's almost midnight, guys. I'm sorry. I promise this is one of the last sentences I'm going to say. Like we both predicted was going to happen, MJF did end up retaining his title. And I think I guessed it right. We'll have to check the tapes. I think I said the final score was going to be 4-3.
Somebody check that.
The only thing that irks me a little bit was the fact that it went into overtime. Like, I was a little more annoyed. So
I thought it was a point to prove a point that MJF can last more than an hour.
that's fair.
When
I
you
didn't.
told me that it went overtime, that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, it was maybe like to prove a point that he can last. Not only can he last an hour, but he can last more.
That's fair. I didn't think of it that way. And I guess that still is the better outcome. Because I found out that he straight up won after like with overtime when I was looking up the results earlier today. Initially, I had seen that the match ended in a draw, and that actually lit a fire under me because I hate that AEW uses draws in their championship matches. In my opinion, it makes both your champion and your challenger look weak. It looks like neither of them can get the job done, so why are they even there? But that's just me.
Well, yeah, that's not obviously what they're trying to get the point.
No,
But
obviously, yeah. Like because the one time that I'm thinking of was
I remember talking about it, but I can't remember the match.
I think Brian Danielson and Adam Page went to a 60-minute
I don't think that's what I was talking about then.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one that's sticking out in my mind. They went to like a 60-minute draw, and I'm like, this just makes them both look weak in my mind because like Adam Page, your champion, can't beat his challenger, and then it's like maybe it makes like the challenger look a little less weak because like he pushed the champion to the edge, but it's like why are you having time limits? Like let someone win in a championship match.
Oh yeah, I don't like yeah, but
But
whatever.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. That was my last thought for AEW. I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to quickly bring up.
not that I can think of.
All right. Well, then that's it, guys. That's our episode for this week. We'll be back next week. Definitely, we'll have some more rounds of Guess the Wrestler next week. We'll probably do another weekly review, and then we'll come up with some other segment ideas. Have a good day, y'all.
Night.